Alright, so I saw something the other day that blew my mind, and Magic Mike is at it again. So something exciting happened inside my home, under our little plant area, actually on top of our little plant area, and I'll show that to you in just a minute. We're going to go in there and we're going to see this, but I am so excited to show you guys this little finding. But first, I got to give you a little backstory. Yes, you got to listen to this just for a minute so you understand how we arrived at this point. So a little over a month ago, I made a video about not covering your hardwood cuttings. And it basically explained that you want to root them on bottom heat outdoors. You don't want to cover them because covering them builds up the heat in there and the humidity and encourages the top growth to come out before the bottom growth happens. Well, the video was received well, and a lot of people said, you know what, I find that you're right, Mike. That's the best way I have success with hardwood cuttings too. And some people said, hey, I didn't know that. I'm going to give it a try. And generally, people appreciated the video. However, it blew up online. I accidentally stumbled upon one forum where people saw my video and they posted it on there and started talking about it. So what people were saying were, you have to cover your figs, or you have to wrap them with parafilm, or you have to do something in my location because my location is a much drier location. And maybe what works for Mike won't work for anybody else, is almost the way it came out. But I digress. This kind of criticism doesn't bother me at all. What it does is it makes me go, hey, am I doing the right thing? Am I teaching people the right thing? Because this channel is all about helping you guys. And so I really thought hard about this one, and I said, maybe I've got it all wrong. How can I create an experiment that can show me rooting a fig successfully in a dry location and not having any problems with it at all? Not wrapping it, not covering it, not doing anything, and it roots. That's where it's going to get fun. You guys are going to want to see this. But first I want to explain one thing, because I dug into this one deep. One person came on there and they said his humidity levels are really high in western Washington state, near 100% humidity. So I thought, gosh, is that true? Because it's cold, it's freezing cold out right now. It's wintertime and it is dry. It feels bone-chillingly dry around here. My knuckles get cracked, lips get cracked. There is no moisture in the air, or at least that's the way it feels. But when I look on the AccuWeather site, it says almost 100% humidity in my area, and I'm going, what gives? So I had to get scientific and research this a little bit. What I found was this: the warmer air temperature gets, the more moisture it can hold. So if you're at 80 degrees or 100 degrees at your house in the summertime, it can hold a lot of moisture. And so a humidity level at 100% in an 80, 90, 100 degree climate will feel super muggy and wet and miserable. But when the air temperature gets really cold, the colder it gets, the less moisture it can hold. And so what that means is, if the humidity levels are 100% when it's 25 degrees here, it might be 100% humidity levels, but it's only 100% of what the air can actually hold, because the temperatures are too cold to hold much moisture. So understanding that, we can see simply that compared to 100 degree temp at 100% humidity, there's relatively very little moisture in the air at 25 degrees here in my area. Even though it says 100% humidity, it's 100% of what the air will actually hold. So when I made that video last spring, and I actually rooted the cuttings outside on my back porch, not covered, in a cold environment on bottom heat, I really was proving that you can root these things outdoors without cover. And even though it might have been 100% humidity here according to AccuWeather, the air wasn't holding much moisture at all. But I went a step further, just for you guys. This winter, I saw those comments and I said, gosh, Mike, how can you prove this to these people? How can you prove it? So what did I do? I went out and I took a cutting of my Black Madeira KK, one of the figs that some people say is a little tougher to root or takes longer to root. And I said, I don't care what happens to this thing. It's about the experimentation and about the learning process that we're getting out of this. I don't care if this thing dies. I'm going to do what it takes to figure this out. Get to the bottom of it. I took that cutting indoors, I stuck it like I usually do in a little Dixie cup, everything the same. I didn't wrap it with any kind of saran wrap, I didn't cover it, I didn't wrap it with grafting tape, I didn't do anything. It was just open to the air. And indoors, the temperature is about 68 degrees on average, and we all know that inside, it's much drier. It's even drier than it is outside. Homes are especially. Usually the humidity levels are around 40% in a home, give or take. And I have a wood stove in there, and it is very dry in my house in the wintertime, and the conditions are a little bit warmer, which would put this little fig that's not covered in the absolute worst possible scenario to root if what these people are saying are correct. Well, you want to go take a look? So here we are, guys, back under the table again. There's the petunias hacked back. Everything's looking good and growing nicely. And look at my beautiful poinsettia. This is a little project I've been working on. Isn't she pretty? But the reason we're here is for one fig cutting. Let's take a look. It's actually not down under here. It's just up above the table. So I took that cutting and I didn't want it under lighting. I wanted it on top of this table. I'm in my dry house that's got very low humidity with a wood stove going all winter long. So just very dry conditions in here. It's on top of this table that has all the lighting down underneath there. So we've got warmth flowing up from the lighting. And this tabletop is just, it's not hot at all. It's just mildly warm. It's probably maintaining, I don't know, 70, 75 degrees, something like that during the daytime. At night it cools off a little bit when the lights shut off. But there's our cutting. I stuck it in our fine fir bark here. Nothing special. I just scored the cutting like I did in that video from last spring instead of shaving material off of it. And I dipped it in Hormidin 3 this time instead of the Dip and Grow. It was just easier to do with one cutting. So let's take this guy down under the table in the lighting where we can see it a little bit better. And I want to show you what I saw the other day. First of all, look at that, little green buds. But they're not growing yet because we want roots first. None of this was wrapped. There was no wrap on this cutting. There was nothing covering it. It's been sitting on top of that table for only 3 weeks. Maybe a few days longer than that. Not even a month though. And look what I saw. Look what I saw, guys. Look what I saw. Look at that. Isn't that fantastic? That's a little weed seed that sprouted. But those are black Madeira KK roots. You see them? All coming out there in the cup. It worked, guys. No humidity. I mean, very low humidity. It's inside my house. I did not cover this. I didn't do anything with it. I'm just, man, I can't get over how easy this is. You guys, we've done it in higher humidity. We've done it in lower humidity. We've done it in all kinds of conditions. You don't need anything to root these guys. And now the dilemma is, do I put this underneath the table here? Do I bring it under here, under the lights and wake it up? Or do I leave it up there to get a little bit more roots? We'll see what happens, but I just had to show that to you guys. Super exciting. Let's take a look. Let's take a look one more time. Look at those little roots. Beautiful. It's rooting. It is rootin' tootin', guys. Ooh, there's another one on the other side. That wasn't there yesterday. I just noticed that. Look at that. Little tiny root. You see it? Just wanting to poke through. Beautiful little black Madeira. It's going to be awesome. Oh yeah, I should add one more thing just so you guys are completely aware of everything that I did here. Like I said, it was sitting up on top of this table, and let's put it back up there. So it's been sitting up here, and all I did is the top, just like I did on those cuttings last spring, outside, on the tops of the soil, when it really just started to kind of dry out a little bit. I've never watered this guy. I watered it thoroughly when I first put it up here. But then after that, I didn't water it at all. all I did was take a spray bottle when I'd see this get light brown and start to dry out on the surface, and I just kind of moisten the surface. That's all I did. I did it probably, I don't know, 2 times, maybe 3 times, just like that. Just moisten the surface, just to keep it moist as that water evaporates. This part right here has evaporated quite a bit. This was actually pretty sopping wet, this soil in here, when I first stuck the cutting, and it's dried out quite a bit over the 3 weeks. But there it is. That's all there is to it. That's it, guys. Another fig video. We proved a whole nother theory, and things are looking good around here. So if you liked the video, hit the like button, subscribe if you want to follow along. Have a fantastic week. Magic Mike signing out. Adios.